Yes, that's the boy. So, devotees, here we go. Last night, well, of course, on Sunday afternoon, we introduced the subject of who is Krishna, what is Krishna, Radharani, and we explored some of the understandings of their pastimes, which have more to them than meets the eye. Yes, their pastimes have a lot more to them than meets the eye, and therefore people, the people in general at least, they struggle to grasp what is going on really in the pastimes, and in fact, mainly they sort of fail altogether. Kalindi, have a cushion. Relax. Good girl. Yeah. What's your age, Kalindi? Sorry?
10.
10. Okay, you're a big girl. Right, okay. So that was Sunday afternoon. It was more so, a lot of it was like background information, how things work transcendentally. Then last night we did describe a number of pastimes, some of Radha and Krishna together, some of Krishna himself, and just a few about some devotees of Krishna, great devotees, very special devotees. So this evening, we're really just going to continue the same themes, you could say. We will start by telling you a story about Krishna. Anyway, you'll see as it goes that it's about Krishna, and this is a story told by Srila Prabhupada himself. He told the story. It's an important story in terms of, like, in principle. So what happened was that Lord Krishna was present on this planet 5,000 years ago or thereabouts, and performing different pastimes, different activities, and devotees. Listen to this. Are you ready? Fasten your seatbelts. Krishna got a headache. Can you believe it? Some might say that Krishna, he's God. God can't get a headache. It's just for little people like us, defective little people with material bodies, and, just we're prone to have health problems. We get headaches. I mean, I think we sometimes get some excellent headaches. Yeah, so anyway, Krishna got a headache. And if anyone says to you that, how can God get a headache? Moan and groan and complain. God can't get a headache. But if Krishna decides he wants to get a headache, he can get a headache. Of course, he is not incapable. So Krishna got a headache. And Krishna, being God, when he got a headache, he basically got the best headache. Like, sure, a real headache. And, right, a God-sized headache. So anyway, Krishna got a headache. And Narada Muni came by, and he saw there's Krishna looking, like, a bit under the weather. And he asked, "What's wrong, my lord?" And Krishna said, "I've got a headache." And Narada Muni said, "Well, would you like some disprin or panado or something?" Yeah. And Krishna said, "That won't help. That won't help at all. What I need, the only thing which will help me will be if you or someone can get some dust from the lotus feet of my devotees and then put that on my head, that will cure my headache." So Narada Muni said, "Right, okay, yes." And off he went to find some devotees. So he found some. I mean, they were sort of devotees, borderline. They were definitely not advanced devotees or great devotees or anything like that. They were sort of Vedic, people who know about the Vedic literatures, who are interested in such things, but not actually devoted. I mean, just little bit. So Narada Muni approached them and said, serious problem. Krishna has a headache. And the only thing which will cure his headache is if I can get some dust from the lotus feet of his devotees, I'll put it on his head, and then his headache will be cured. So those people, they were sort of like, they were more along the lines of demigod worshippers. So they knew of Krishna to some degree. They had heard about Krishna. But they thought Krishna is just one of the gods. He's one of the many, and he's not so special, at least amongst that category of beings. So when they heard that Krishna, the idea is they want some dust from our feet, and then they're going to put it on his head, they immediately said, no. He's one of the gods, and it would be an offense to put some dust from our dirty feet on his head. So no way, we are not going to. And Narada Muni went back to Krishna and said, I asked the demigod worshippers, and they just were not at all ready to give some dust. Then Krishna said, well, what about, why don't you go and approach some yogis who are doing different yogic exercises and things like that. There is room here. Look at this. Beautiful, soft carpet. And look, there's a magnificent throne there. someone else will come, don't worry. Oh no, Vrindadev, what are you doing sitting there? You must go and sit on the throne. I'm disappointed. Anyway, we'll find someone to sit there.
Thank you.
You're lonely there. So Krishna said, right, go and find some yogis who are sitting, in yogic positions, or maybe standing on their heads, or twisting their bodies around in so many ways. And they know about me. They know about me. So why don't you go ask them? And Krishna said, because my headache is getting worse. It's really getting worse. So I went Narada Muni to find some yogis. And he found some yogis. Yes, come in. In. Under. BTA. No. You've got to sit on the throne. It's got your name on it. All right. So Narada Muni found some yogis. And sure enough, they were sitting deep in meditation and eyes closed or almost closed, looking at the tips of their noses and just, like really authentic yogis. And Krishna explained the same story. Narada Muni explained the same story. Krishna has a headache, and the only thing which will cure it is if we can get some dust from the feet of the devotees, and you're yogis, so you'll do. Can you please give some dust from your feet? And the yogi said, no way, never. If some of the dust from our feet gets on the head of Krishna, Krishna is Yogeshwara. He is the chief of all the yogis. He's our chief. He's great. Greater than us. If some of the dust from our feet gets on his head, we'll go to hell. So no. So Narada Muni went back to Krishna and said, I tried the yogis, but they just weren't into it at all, because they said, you're Yogeshwar, you're their senior. So what should I do? Then Krishna said, go to Vrindavan and find the gopis and ask the gopis and see what they say. Hare Krishna, Ramai Prabhu, Kimanya, Asise, Isi. Yes. No. So Krishna said, go find the gopis and ask them and see how they react. So off went Narada Muni again and found the gopis in Vrindavan, explained the situation to them, and Krishna, when Narada Muni was with Krishna just that time, Krishna said, my headache's getting worse. Oh, it's terrible. Right, so Narada Muni met the gopis and explained, yes, our Lord Krishna has a headache. The only thing which will cure him is if he gets some dust from the lotus feet of devotees. And you are great devotees. So could you please give some dust? And the gopis said, sure. No problem. And they grabbed their feet and just started taking off all the dust and, just from all around their feet. And Narada Muni thought, they are innocent little village girls, a little like Kalindi. She looks like a village girl with nice village clothes on. And so Narada Muni thought that they're just young village girls. They don't know all the technical stuff about the Vedas and how, you don't put your feet on the head of someone who's higher than you, more elevated like Krishna. So he said, now, just hang on. He told the gopis, just hold on a minute. Now, I better explain one thing, that if the dust of someone's feet gets on the head of another person who is more elevated, then the person from whose feet the dust was taken may go to hell. Did you know that? And the gopis, to his surprise, said, yes, of course we know that. Of course we know that. But we don't care. We're happy to go to hell as long as Krishna is happy. As long as Krishna is all right, we don't mind, we'll go to hell. So like this, Narada Muni understood, these are the real devotees. They're the really advanced devotees. The gopis, they're better than the yogis, they're better than the demigod worshippers. Excuse me. Let's see. That's the way. Hold on, yeah. You okay? TK. All right, so that's the story. In this way, Narada Muni understood the gopis are the greatest devotees, which they definitely are. Now, I'll tell you another story now about Krishna and Srimati Radharani and the gopis. It's an interesting story. One morning, Krishna at Nandagram was just moving around, and he went to see his mother Yashoda, and there he saw that Mother Yashoda was packing a big box full of all sorts of nice things. Means like nice clothes, nice jewelry, nice perfumes, these types of nice things. Mother Yashoda, and it's a big box. It's a big box, like, I don't know. Anyway, it's a big box, really big box. And she's just packing it full. So Krishna asked, who is this for, Mataji? It's not for me, Krishna said, I can tell, because I do not wear saris. So who's it for? And Mother Yashoda said, it is for the most wonderful, beautiful, and warm-hearted, loving, devotional young lady, the most wonderful. Krishna acting, like doesn't know exactly what's going on. Krishna said, really? Who is that young lady? And Mother Yashoda said, her name is Radharani. When she said that, Krishna's hair stood on end. goose pimples. His body started shaking in ecstasy. And he started stuttering. He couldn't speak, stuttering, couldn't speak properly. Yes, so Mother Yashoda said actually her husband, Radharani's husband, Abhimanyu, is here at present. He's speaking to my husband, Nanda Maharaj, and shortly he's going to come and pick up this box with all these beautiful things, just full of all these beautiful things, and take them back to his wife, Radharani. And okay, so Krishna's thought, oh, that's very interesting. So then Mother Yashoda went off somewhere, and Krishna's there with the box, and some of his cowherd boyfriends came. And Krishna said, quickly, open the box, take everything out, and give it. There's a few gopis here, friends of Radharani. Give all these things to them, they can take it over to her in Yavat. And I am going to get in the box. So he did. I just wonder what the creaking is. Is it just the chair? No, it's not. It is the rubbing on this thing. So, okay. So they take everything out, give it to Dhanishta and Padma and Kalindi, girlfriends of Radharani, and Krishna got in the box. Now Krishna's in the box. So then along comes Abhimanyu, and Mother Yashoda tells him, look at this beautiful box. It is full of the most wonderful, wonderful things. Just such beautiful things. And what I want for you to do, take those things to your wife, Radharani, and give them to her, and tell her that take these things and put them close, right close to her body and close to her heart. Always. So Abhimanyu said, right, will do. And off he went, carrying the box on his head. It was a heavy box, but fortunately he has a very hard head. And Krishna's inside there. And Krishna, of course, Krishna is everything. Krishna is not just some little boy or even, a young man. Krishna is everything. So, and everything, you must know, if you're carrying everything on your head, everything is pretty heavy. So it was such a weight. He was just staggering along. It was very hard. But somehow or other, he couldn't understand how it was happening. But all ecstatic symptoms were just inundating his body. Tears were flowing from his eyes. He's trying to sing, but his voice is stammering. And his hair is standing on end. Like that sort of thing. And so on and so forth. And he couldn't understand, why is this happening? And how is this box so heavy? It's incredibly heavy. So anyway, he arrived back home in Yavat. And there was his mother, Jatila, So Jatila asked, what is this box? What is in here? And Abhimanyu said, well, I was over there visiting Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda gave me this box and said, it's full of all wonderful things like saris and jewelry and ointments and perfumes, extremely valuable, of the highest class. And they're all for Radharani. And Jatila thought, that's great. That's wonderful. We don't need to tell Radharani it came from Yashoda. We'll just tell her it's from us. And then, if you go in, Abhimanyu, and give this to your wife, you'll become her hero. Yes, because unfortunately, up till now, Radharani thinks that Abhimanyu, her husband, is a bit of a murk, mahamurk, bit of a fool, a schmuck, a klutz. But now she's going to think, gosh, my hero, most wonderful, brought me all this just amazing stuff. Great. And Abhimanyu said, yes, and we must tell her that she must keep these things close to her all the time. So then they went and they gave the box to Radharani and told her that we are your seniors, means your mother-in-law and husband. We are your seniors, and we are ordering you to take the contents of this box and just keep it close to your heart, always. Radharani said, oh, okay. And off they went. So then you know what happened? Lalita went to open the box. It had some sort of clip on it holding it closed. So she pulled the clip away, and suddenly, just like a jack-in-the-box, you know what a jack-in-the-box is? You didn't miss much. It's a child's thing. You open it and this little figure comes jumping out. That's a jack-in-the-box. So suddenly, she releases the clip. Suddenly, choo, the thing just opens and Krishna jumps out. And they're all just astonished. What are you doing there? And Krishna said, there I was just minding my business out in the cow fields, and suddenly someone stuck me in this box. One of your associates stuck me in this box. It's terrible. You can't do things like that. And then Lalita said, well, Radharani, you know what your mother-in-law and husband said? You must keep the contents of this box close to your heart. So you must embrace Krishna. And she embraced Krishna. And as she did that, she thought, just see how amazing these pastimes in Vrindavan are. That person, Krishna, who my mother-in-law, if she sees him come within 100 meters of me, she starts shouting at him and telling him to go away. But now, by her order, I'm embracing Krishna. How wonderful Vrindavan is. So there you go, devotees. That's the story of the box by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, actually. Let me tell you a story about a devotee, or two devotees actually, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, and Radharani's there too. You know, there was a period of time Srila Rupa Goswami was living at Tir Kadamba. Some of you may have been to Tir Kadamba. It's near Nandagram, a couple of kilometre or something away, out in the fields. Nice place. It's a place of Krishna's pastimes. So Rupa Goswami was staying there and writing, and just on the other side of Nandagram, by Pavan Sarovar, which is quite a big kund on the other side, Sanatan Goswami was staying there. And this one day, Rupa Goswami realized it is Sanatan Goswami's birthday, his appearance day. And Rupa Goswami considered Sanatan to be one of his spiritual masters. Actually, he's initiated by Lord Chaitanya himself, personally. But Rupa considered Sanatan to be a Siksha Guru, an instructing guru, a very important person in his life. So he thought, well, he is one of my gurus, and today is his Vyasa Puja day. I should offer him something very nice. I should cook something nice. Actually, you know what I'd like to do? I would like to make some sweet rice for him. But what can I do? I'm living out here, you know, in the forest, no supermarket nearby, so I can't get the ingredients and make some sweet rice. So, oh well, what to do? So much for that. Then suddenly, from the forest, surrounding forest, came one beautiful young girl, really beautiful, a young girl, carrying some pots. And she just walked in and walked up to Rupa Goswami and said, here, take this, bang, and just gave him these pots and said, there was a wedding in the village, and this here, this is some rice, very high quality rice, very nice milk, very nice sugar, and things like this for making sweet rice. It's left over from the wedding. So they told me, just go out into the forest, find some Baba living in the forest, just give it to him. So there you go, it's yours. And Rupa's looking at this, and he looked up to say thank you. She had vanished. She didn't just go running away quickly. She just was just not there. And he thought, wow, you know, I can't believe it. I was just thinking of making sweet rice. And who is this girl? Who could she be? Anyway, okay, let me make the sweet rice. So he made the sweet rice. And when he made the sweet rice, then just the natural aroma of the sweet rice was just so sweet and rich and beautiful. He almost fainted. And I was thinking, gosh, who was that girl? Where did she get these incredible ingredients from? Anyway, not to worry. I got to take it over to Sanatan. So off he went. And around to that place where Sanatan Goswami was. It was at least a kilometer or even maybe 2 or something like that. It was definitely a bit of a walk. So he went around as quickly as he could. He arrived there and greeted Sanatan Goswami. Happy Vyasa Puja! Haribol! And Sanatan Goswami was very happy to see him. And Rupa said, you won't believe this. I've got some of the most incredible sweet rice as an offering for your Vyasa Puja day. And he handed it over to Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami smelt this aroma. He'd never smelt sweet rice like that before. And he asked, where did you get this? And Rupa said, well, I was sitting there at Tirkadamba. And I was thinking how it's your Vyasa Puja day, how I'd like to cook and offer to you some really nice sweet rice. And suddenly this girl just emerged from the forest and gave me the ingredients. Yeah, she told me there was a wedding in the village and this was left over. Now, where Sanatan was living, it was kind of in the village. Rupa Goswami was some distance away, out in the forest. So Sanatan said, wedding in the village? There was no wedding in the village. Well, what is this sweet rice? And he took just a little cup and he was just overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed. And he said, I have tasted the Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath. I have tasted the remnants of Lord Chaitanya himself, but I've never tasted anything like this. He said, that girl was Srimati Radharani. And now you've engaged her in my service by her supplying these ingredients. That's terrible. How can I take service from Srimati Radharani? I can't do that. And he put down his cup of sweet rice. So then he's sitting there momentarily. Tears are coming from his eyes. Oh, this sweet rice. And he said to Rupa Goswami, I tell you what, give me another cup of sweet rice. And you can have one too. So they both drank the sweet rice while tears of ecstasy were just dripping from their eyes into the sweet rice. And as they say, they all lived happily ever after. Yes. So that's the story. That's that story. Let me tell you another story. And it's a Rupa, Jiva, and Sanatan. 3 Goswamis. Yeah. So, Jiva Goswami was serving Rupa Goswami out at a place, it's called Nandagat. Nandagat. It's not far from, it's to the north of Vrindavan town, just a few kilometers, like 5 kilometers, on the banks of the Yamuna. So Jiva Goswami was serving Rupa, and one day, one big scholar came. His name was Vallabhabhata, big scholar, Brahmin scholar, and, very kind of pompous and proud. So he came and spoke to Rupa Goswami and said, I heard you're writing some books. And Rupa said, yes, that's right. And Vallabhabhata said, I thought I could maybe help you by editing your books, checking your books, giving you some advice how to improve your books. And Jiva Goswami sitting there thinking, give some advice, improve Rupa Goswami's books. Come on, who do you think you are? So Rupa, though, he said, that's really kind of you. So he gave him a manuscript of Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And now Vallabhabhata is looking at the manuscript. Yes, not bad. It's all right. But, here you said this. You could have said that. It would have been better. And, yeah, all right, not too bad. Oh, but here, you should have said, you said something. You should have said something else. And he suggested something else. And looking through, it's not too bad, actually. And they said, well, here, you said this and you should have said that. Would have been better. But anyway, still, it's quite good. It's not too bad. And Rupa Goswami, a very humble devotee, is just saying, thank you. Thank you so much. But Jiva Goswami, the disciple, he's sitting there thinking, who does this man think he is? He's trying to correct Rupa Goswami. And he heard all those suggested corrections. And Jiva was thinking, you know what, those were not corrections. They just made it worse. So Rupa Goswami said to Vallabhabhata, lunch is almost ready. My disciple Jiva can take you down to the river. You can take bath there. Come back, lunch will be ready. We'll serve you lunch. So off they went, Vallabhabhata with Jiva. On the way, Jiva Goswami said, at that particular place, you said that where Rupa Goswami said this, he should have said that. It would have been better. But actually, what you said was wrong. It was not better. It was better the way it was to start off with. And he explained briefly, by Sanskrit grammar and like that, how it was better the way it was. And Vallabhabhata said, oh, wow, you're right, actually. Then they walked a few more steps, and Jiva said, and when you said that he wrote something, but he should have written something else, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. It was better the way it was, and he explained why. And Vallabhabhata had to agree, actually, you're right. So they went through several of these so-called corrections. Then they got down, took bath, and came back. And Rupa Goswami said, all right, please sit down, we'll serve you lunch. Vallabhabhata said, I am not taking lunch with you or your disciple. Your disciple, he thinks he's so clever. Yeah, he's just correcting me and criticizing me, and I don't like it, and I'm going. And he went. And Rupa Goswami was really upset. Said to Jiva, what did you do? This big scholar kindly offered to help me, and you've chased him away. And Jiva tried to explain that, he suggested these changes, but they weren't right. And he explained a few. And Rupa said, doesn't matter. He's your senior. You can't treat him like that. You've offended him. You're an offender. Get out of here. Go. You're not ready to stay in Vrindavan. Just go. Go back to Bengal until you learn some manners. Then maybe you can come back. So Jiva was very upset because he knew that what he had said was right. And he's just protecting his spiritual master. But on Rupa's order, off he went, moving towards, like following the Yamuna, which would take him back to Bengal. But as he's going and going, because he's going from right up the top of Rajmandala down, and he's thinking, he's just depressed and devastated. I was trying to serve my spiritual master, and what I did was correct. So after a little while, he's still in the greater Vrindavan area. After a little while, he thought to himself, I can't take this. I'm just going to go down to the Yamuna, find a crocodile hole, and just stay there and fast till I die. So he found a crocodile hole, without crocodile, of course. And he just moved in, and the crocodile holes are big. You can sit there, it's like a room. So he sat down and started chanting. He's just going to fast till death and keep chanting. So the local village people, they would come around, and they saw, here's this young sannyasi, and he looks really upset. What's wrong? But he wouldn't say anything. So they offered, to feed him, and he said, no, I'm an offender. So this went on for like a week, 10 days, and they understood he's fasting to death. So then what happened was that Sanatana Goswami, who was doing Vrajmandal Parikrama constantly moving around Vrajmandala, Sanatana Goswami came by, and the village people told him, there's this young sannyasi. He's down there by the Yamuna in the crocodile hole. He seems very distressed, and it looks like he's fasting to death. So you got to help him. So Sanatana went down, and then he saw, it's Jiva, my nephew. And so he spoke to Jiva. Jiva explained the whole situation, how Rupa Goswami basically had rejected him for actually no really good reason. So Sanatana was very brilliant person, and very expert in interpersonal dealings. Very expert. So he thought, okay, I will visit Rupa Goswami and we will see what we can do. So off he went. And he arrived there. Rupa Goswami was there. And Rupa Goswami was very happy to see him. And they sat down together and they're talking about Krishna together. And then Sanatan said, you know, there's a verse. There's a verse. How does it go? Nama Kirtan Jivadoya Bhagavat Shravan. It's a verse. It's not the one we're familiar with. It's somewhere else. Yeah. Chant the holy names, be merciful to the jivas, and study the Bhagavatam. So Rupa Goswami said to Sanatan Goswami said to Rupa, you remember what Lord Chaitanya told us? You remember? He told us, Nama Kirtan, we must chant the holy names. And Rupa said, yes, right. We must chant the holy names. That's wonderful. The order of Lord Chaitanya. And Sanatan said, you remember also what he said? Bhagavat Shravan. We must hear Srimad Bhagavatam. You remember that? And Rupa said, yes, Bhagavat Shravan. We must hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That's great. Let's hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Sanatan said, and you remember another thing the Lord said to us. He said, Jiva Doya. We must be merciful to the jivas. And Rupa said, yes, right. We must be merciful. Jiva Doya. We must help the jivas. And Sanatan said, well, you know, the thing is, I know one jiva. And he needs your mercy. He needs your mercy now. And then Rupa understood, oh, I see. All right. Please bring him here. So Sanatan brought Jiva. And Jiva and Rupa were reunited. Hare Krishna. So that's nice, isn't it? Let me tell you another little story. I mean, some of this you may be familiar with, some not. I don't know. Right, okay, let me tell you the story here. This is a little story about Lokanath Goswami. Lokanath was sent by Lord Chaitanya to Vrindavan with Bhugava Goswami before the 6 Goswamis were sent, before he sent any of the 6 Goswamis. So Lokanath really started the mission of uncovering the holy places and so on. Him and Bhugava. So Lokanath, he went and stayed at a place called Kadirvan, which, if you've been to Varshana, you would have passed through Kadirvan. It's just on the road. It's a village on the road to Varshana. Just sort of in the early part of the road to Varshana. Village, right on the road. So, but there was no village at that time. But it's Vraja, it's Vrindavan, so Lokanath, he just went there and sort of set up camp there. And he's living in seclusion. And in his heart, he's thinking, this is Krishna's place. I'd love to get a deity of Krishna and worship him here. So he's thinking like that. Then a couple of days later, what should happen? one small boy, about, what's your age now? 5. Okay. About your size, or maybe Kalindi's size. She's 10. She's a bit bigger than you. But anyway, this young boy just appeared out of the forest with this deity, not a big deity, like eyes of Krishna, black deity of Krishna. And the boy said that, here, this is for you, bang, look after him. And the boy vanished. So, look, and I thought, this is amazing. What do I do now? He's looking at the deity. It's Vinod, Radha Vinod. And the deity said to me, I'm hungry, feed me. So look, and I've got some aloo, some gobi. You understand that? Yeah. Some gobi, some tomato,